Let's get to Nigel Farage, the former Brexit leader and GB News host, who joins us now to talk about a whole collection of things, including whether by this time tomorrow Donald Trump will be arrested. Now, I know all the excitement is about New York. The preparations are New York, but last time I checked, the Donald is in Florida right now, isn't he, Nigel?
Yes, he is. He's at Mar-a-Lago, and supposedly thousands of his supporters will be surrounding the perimeter. Now, whether the prosecutor is going to do this or not, I just don't know. But let's assume they do, just for a moment. We're talking about a 2016 presidential election campaign in which over $1.5 billion was spent on campaigning. The allegation is the $130,000 paid to Stormy Daniels should have been declared as a campaign declaration. Even if that's true, that would count as a very minor misdemeanour, a rounding error, frankly, in declarations, and not a felony. And therefore, it would be a complete and utter abuse of power from the New York court to do this. I have to say that whilst this is going on, we have Hunter Biden, the drug-addled Hunter Biden, earning billions from Russia, China, Ukraine, and no one raises an eyebrow. So I've kind of reached the conclusion that I hope he is arrested, because it'll wake middle America up to just how totally corrupt everything in the deep state, and in particular their own judiciary, has become, and it'll make Trump a hero and guarantee that he wins in November next year.
The metaphor may make some people wince, but this really feels like Al Capone on his taxes, right? Because the most technical part of this is he uses his money and it's declared as going to his lawyer. The lawyer ends up giving the money to Stormy Daniels. It's his own money, and it's about how it was accounted for inside of the company. As you say, at a time when the House is currently looking into 3 payments from a Chinese bank to the president's brother, son, and the widow of his son, who is a school counsellor, again, just because one person is guilty of something else doesn't mean you're total scot-free in the other direction. But I tell you what, it's a small fry as small fry comes when before our very eyes, allegations much bigger are there if anyone wants to investigate them.
Yeah, as I say, at worst, even if this should be a campaign declaration, and I'm not sure that it should, but even if it should be, it counts as a minor misdemeanour, a little rounding error. It is of no economic or political significance at all, in my opinion. And so if they go ahead with this, they make themselves look what they are, which is crazed, biased, determined to put him out of the game. Al Capone in the end was done, of course, because he really was seriously not paying his taxes. You know, I mean, in the end, they got him. You know, he wasn't framed. He actually was on the wrong side of the law.
Yeah.
I don't believe Donald Trump is with this one little bit.
There's a chance I could have found a better comparison, but it was the easiest one that I could say about the gravity of things that are going on. All right, I'll send all complaints to the Ghost, please. Now, stopping the boats. Australia was able to do this, so much so that even the left of Australian mainstream politics had to admit the policy was working, has worked, and they ended up having to adopt it.
Yeah.
In the UK, this is a scenario where, of course, continental Europe, a lot closer than other shores are to ours, but Rishi Sunak seems that this is what he wants to do. Part of that is turning them around. Do you think they can actually turn boats around and send them back to France?
No, they're not saying that. They are absolutely, explicitly, Paul, not saying that. What they're saying is that if you come across the channel, they will detain you and then deport you to Rwanda. All right? Now, anything that you do that stops people paying the criminal traffickers 5,000 or 6,000 euros to make that 22-mile crossing would be a good thing. The problem we've got is, number one, we're still signed up to a court in Strasbourg, the European Court of Human Rights. And last year, when the plane was literally on the tarmac, waiting to go to Rwanda, a judge said, oh, no, 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 no. You thought you had sovereignty with Brexit, but we're very sorry to say we've still got the upper hand. And the other problem is that we've written much of a European convention into UK human rights law. And I'm not saying that our judiciary are quite as bad as they are in New York, but they will nearly always take the side of those who want to come here illegally. So The government's now talking tough. I have been putting them under the most enormous pressure over the course of the last 3 years. They're blooming terrified of me on this subject, as they should be. They're talking the talk, but they can only walk the walk, in my opinion, if we have genuine judicial independence from a European court. So we'll see where this goes, but I promise you this. As our general election comes up at some point in the next 18 months, if the Conservatives do not sort this issue out, they will lose, and lose big time. So the stakes are very high.